Adam, the first human experiment. In the beginning, there was only the infinite expanse. Then, the will to create moved upon the darkness. A blueprint for existence began to take shape. The first experiment was about to commence. The stage was set for humanity's origin. From the dust of the ground, the Creator gathered the elements. The first human experiment took its physical form. Divine breath infused the clay with spirit. Adam awoke, the first sentient being. The Creator observed his successful trial. He was given dominion over the earth. But there was one crucial directive. This perfect place was named Eden, a sanctuary of boundless pleasure. Every fruit was permitted, except one source of true knowledge. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil must remain untouched. On the day you eat from it, you will surely die. Adam obeyed, content in his solitude for a time. But the experiment required a counterpart. A companion suitable for him must be fashioned. So, the work on the second subject began. While Adam slept deeply, the Creator performed the intricate extraction. From this very bone, the complementary design emerged. Eve, the life-giver, was presented to Adam. Adam awoke to behold his partner, the bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. The initial phase of the experiment was complete, two beings in harmony. Innocence reigned supreme. Shame was an unknown concept. They worked together, tending the garden with pure joy. Their days were filled with communion and simplicity. The Creator would often visit, walking with them in the cool of the day. All was provided, all was known, except for the consequence of choice. But in the perfection, a variable was introduced: temptation. The creature, subtler than any other beast, approached Eve. Did the Creator truly forbid you from eating every fruit in the garden? Eve explained the rule, yet doubt was sown. The serpent countered the decree with a poisonous suggestion. You will certainly not die. You will become like the Creator yourselves. The concept of enhanced knowledge became incredibly appealing. She saw the fruit was good for food and pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. The first act of willful disobedience was committed. She ate it and then gave some to Adam, who was with her. Faced with the choice between divine command and partnership, Adam followed his companion. He ate, and the world shifted irrevocably. Instantly, the innocence vanished, replaced by acute awareness. They knew they were naked, a feeling never before experienced. When they heard the presence of the Creator walking in the garden, they tried to conceal themselves among the vegetation. The Creator called out, "Where are you, Adam?" Shame forced an honest, yet fearful, reply. He confessed his transgression, revealing the true failure of the experiment. The Creator turned to the instigator of the failure. The sentence was delivered: crawling on the belly, eating dust for all days, and an eternal enmity between the serpent's seed and the woman's seed. The deceiver was judged and contained within its new limitations. Next, the Creator turned to Eve, addressing the desires she nurtured. The joy of creation would now be interwoven with pain and sorrow. Her desire would be for her husband, yet he would rule over her. The simple perfection of partnership was now complicated by structure. Finally, the judgment fell upon Adam. the leader of this new experiment. The ground itself was cursed because of his action. His sustenance would now require struggle and sweat from his brow. He would toil among thorns and thistles until he returned to dust. The experiment, meant for eternal perfection, now carried an expiration date. Though judgment was passed, a thread of mercy remained. The Creator made garments of skin for Adam and his wife. This was the first necessity imposed by their new knowledge. The first covering of the fallen state was complete. The paradise could not tolerate the knowledge of good and evil, lest they reach out and eat from the tree of life, extending their fallen state eternally. The Creator sent them out to till the ground from which they were taken. Behind them, the way back was immediately sealed. They looked back one last time at the perfection they lost. The first human experiment left paradise for the harsh reality of mortality. The world outside Eden was harsh, demanding effort for every necessity. Eve experienced the pangs of her new reality. Their initial joy was replaced by the weight of consequence. But they remained partners, facing the difficult experiment together. Generations later, the descendants of the experiment began to learn. They learned resilience, forced by the harshness of the earth. The memory of Eden faded, becoming myth and legend. The experiment continued, defined by labor and mortality. Adam and Eve had two sons, who followed different paths in their labors. Cain, a tiller of the ground, brought forth his produce. Abel, a keeper of sheep, presented the firstborn of his flock. The Creator looked upon Abel's offering with favor. But on Cain and his offering, the gaze lingered without pleasure. Anger brewed inside Cain, a shadow far darker than any outside Eden. The Creator warned him, sin is crouching at the door. Cain lured his favored brother out to the open field. The quiet tending of sheep was violently interrupted. The ground cried out, drinking the blood of the innocent. The Creator confronted the first murderer. "Where is your brother, Abel?" Cain's brazen, futile denial echoed across the land. "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" The earth was cursed again, refusing to yield its strength to him. Cain was sentenced to wander, a fugitive and a vagrant. But a sign was placed upon him, ensuring no one would strike him down prematurely. Grief settled upon the first parents, a painful inheritance. A replacement was given, Seth, a new foundation for the line. The experiment of humanity endured, carrying both the stain and the promise. The descendants of Seth began to call upon the name of the Creator. But the corruption initiated by the first choice also spread rapidly. Violence and wickedness became the common language of the experiment. The Creator observed that the wickedness of man was great upon the earth. Every inclination of the thoughts of their hearts was only evil continually. It grieved the Creator that He had made humanity. Yet one man walked faithfully with the divine, Noah. Noah was righteous, blameless among the perverse generation. The instruction for preservation began. He was commanded to build a vessel large enough to save all life. The neighbors mocked this strange endeavor. Year after year, Noah's family labored under the sun. They worked without complaint, trusting the unseen promise. The structure grew into a behemoth, a testament to faith. Then came the command to gather the creatures, 2 by 2. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives entered last. The sky, once clear, began to darken with unnatural speed. The foundations of the great deep were broken up. The windows of heaven were opened, and the rain began its ceaseless torrent. 40 days and 40 nights of overwhelming deluge. Inside, the sounds of the struggling world were muffled by the wood and water. The experiment of mankind had been wiped clean. After many long months, the waters began to abate. The top of the ark finally rested upon the peaks of Ararat. To confirm the earth was drying, Noah sent out a raven. 7 days later, he sent out a dove for confirmation. The dove returned, bearing the sign of fresh hope. Life persisted. The earth was ready for a new beginning. The family stepped out onto the wet, cleansed earth. He immediately erected an altar to the one who preserved them. He offered sacrifice from every clean animal and bird. The Creator smelled the pleasing aroma and spoke with reassurance. I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all flesh be cut off by water. And there, in the sky, appeared the sign of the promise, the rainbow. The experiment was rebooted, focused now on the lineage of Noah's 3 sons. Shem, the ancestor of the righteous lines, looked toward the east. Ham's descendants were destined for different endeavors. Japheth was promised wider territories to inhabit. For a time, the people spoke one language, united in purpose. Their purpose was singular, to build a tower whose top would reach the heavens. It was an act of collective pride, an attempt to reclaim divine status. The Creator decided to intervene in this unified human experiment. He confused their language, making communication impossible. The grand project collapsed into chaos and fragmentation. The scattered groups dispersed across the face of the earth. The singular human experiment fragmented into diverse peoples. The Tower of Babel became a monument to hubris. A long time passed, and humanity continued its varied paths. From one man, destined to become a great nation, came the next crucial step. The Creator spoke clearly to Abram, cutting through the noise of the city. Get out of your country and from your relatives, and go to the land I will show you. He was promised descendants as numerous as the stars in the heavens. Abram obeyed immediately, leaving behind the comfort of Ur. He took his wife, Sarai, and his nephew, Lot, with him. They journeyed through unknown lands, guided only by faith. The destination remained veiled, the promise their soul map. The new experiment in chosen nationhood had truly begun. When famine struck the land, the journey led them to Egypt for sustenance. Fearing the Pharaoh would kill him to take Sarai, Abram asked her to lie. "Tell them you are my sister," he whispered, his fear overriding truth. Her great beauty was immediately noticed by the Egyptian court. The Creator intervened with plagues upon Pharaoh's house. Pharaoh learned the truth and confronted Abram. The family was restored, but they were sent away from Egypt hastily. The experiment continued, now richer in experience and possessions. Back in the Promised Land, the flocks of Abram and Lot multiplied greatly. Strife arose between their herdsmen over the scarce good pasture. Abram offered peace. "Let us not quarrel, choose your portion of the land." Lot chose the fertile plains near the wicked cities of the Jordan. The prosperity of the valley brought war upon Lot's dwelling. Sodom fell, and Lot was taken captive along with his family and possessions. Abram heard the news and gathered his trained men. He pursued the kings far north, trusting in divine strength. Abram launched a surprise attack and routed the 4 kings. As he returned, he was met by Melchizedek, king of Salem. Melchizedek brought bread and wine, blessing the victor. "Blessed be Abram by God Most High," proclaimed the priest. Abram refused the spoils of war, promising the king nothing. Later, the Creator reassured him, "Do not be afraid, your reward will be great." But Abram questioned, What will you give me, since I remain childless?" A terrifying vision confirmed the covenant through sacrifice. Years passed, and the promise of an heir remained unfulfilled. Sarai, desperate, offered her Egyptian handmaid, Hagar, to her husband. Abram agreed, and Hagar conceived, leading to immediate strife. Sarai felt betrayed and mocked by her own servant. Hagar fled into the desert, overwhelmed by Sarai's harsh treatment. By a spring of water, the angel of the Creator found her. "Return to your mistress and submit to her authority," the angel commanded. It was also promised that her son, Ishmael, would become a mighty nation. Upon her return, the tension remained, but the path forward was fixed. When Abram was 99, the Creator returned to renew the everlasting covenant. Sarai, overhearing the promise of a son in her old age, laughed in disbelief. True to the word, when the time was right, Isaac was born. And his name meant laughter, a monument to Sarai's initial doubt. As Isaac grew, the promise hinged solely upon him. The Creator spoke the most severe command of the experiment. "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and offer him as a sacrifice." For 3 days, Abram walked toward the designated mountain in silence. Isaac questioned his father about the missing lamb for the offering. Abram assured his son that the Creator would provide the lamb. He built the altar, arranged the wood, and bound his beloved son. The knife was raised above the boy, poised for the final act. Suddenly, the angel of the Creator called out from heaven, "Stop. Now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son from me." A ram, caught in the thicket nearby, was provided as the substitute. The ultimate test was passed. The covenant was sealed not by blood, but by faith. Abram returned, and the covenant was the foundation for a nation. The narrative of Adam's flawed beginning transitioned to the story of Israel. The experiment of testing humanity's inherent nature had now spanned millennia. Sometimes, in the quiet of the night, the memory of Eden surfaced. The ease of life before the knowledge of good and evil felt impossibly distant. The first choice, the fatal flaw in the original design. Every subsequent struggle was an echo of that original separation. Adam's experiment taught a harsh truth about free will. Perfection without testing resulted in immediate collapse. Mortality, toil, and suffering became the conditions for true moral development. The second chance, through Abram's faith, showed a path forward. The struggle against the environment and against internal corruption would repeat. Each generation would face its own unique temptation. But the promise made to the very first experiment remained their anchor. The story of Adam, the beginning of humanity's long, arduous, faithful journey. The line of Isaac produced twins, whose rivalry foreshadowed future struggles. Through conflict and favor, the family eventually moved down into Egypt. There, they multiplied, becoming a great multitude in a foreign land. The favor shown to the seed of Abram slowly turned to oppression. The burden of servitude became unbearable under the new Pharaoh. Their cries rose up to the Creator, just as he had promised Abram centuries before. In the midst of this hardship, a destined deliverer was born and hidden. The experiment of bondage would soon give way to the test of liberation. From dust to the promise, humanity faced its core trials. The initial freedom of Eden was traded for the burden of knowledge. Generations proved that the flaw was deeply ingrained. Yet, faithfulness, the core lesson from Abram, provided the thread of survival. The experiment is not over. It simply evolves with each new generation. The story of Adam is the blueprint for all human struggle. Will the next generation choose obedience over the lure of forbidden knowledge? The human experiment continues, awaiting the final outcome.